It says I'm live. Let's see if I can scoot this over just a little bit to get my document up here. All righty. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for April 30th. April 30th is the 120th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 121st in leap years, with 245 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is Junoesque. Junoesque is an adjective that means having a stately bearing and regal beauty, statuesque. This word is named after Juno, the principal goddess in Roman mythology. She was the wife and sister of Jupiter. Earliest documented use of the word Junoesque is 1888. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my resources are included in the show notes. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure we don't have outtakes today because we're live. So never mind about the outtakes today. Remember that you can share this video with others in your email and social media. There is a Day in History playlist. I'll link it up in the corner there. And yeah, I think that's it. Alrighty. And with that, we're going to start with the Louisiana Purchase. On April 30th, 1803, the United States purchased the Louisiana Territory from France for the sum total of $15 million. This was for a land area of 827,000 square miles, which, if I did my math correctly, comes to 529,280,000 acres. At $15 million, this comes to a few cents more than $18 per square mile, or just under 3 cents per acre. That's some pretty cheap land. This more than doubled the size of the United States. On April 30th, 1812, the Territory of Orleans became the 18th state of the Union under the name of Louisiana. A man named Robert FitzRoy, Vice Admiral FitzRoy, was captain of the HMS Beagle during Charles Darwin's famous voyage to Tierra del Fuego and the Southern Cone. He also happened to be a meteorologist who made daily weather predictions. He called these daily weather predictions forecasts. Forecasts. This is a word we hear just about every day if we're paying attention. And I certainly never gave any thought as to where or when this particular word might have come from. It came from Robert FitzRoy. He was interested in weather information in regards to the safety of seafarers, shipping and fishermen, and like that. He developed and saw to the distribution of barometers used to measure air pressure, which is so helpful in short-term weather prediction. I'm sure you've heard your local television weatherman talk about barometric pressure in regards to what the weather might do. I'm amazed and impressed that FitzRoy was so spot on in his observations of weather, and that his innovations are still in use to this day. Sadly, he suffered from worry about financial difficulties, failing health, and depression. And Robert FitzRoy took his own life on April 30th, 1805. He was 59. Now I remember, it's kind of a science episode, I guess. I remember hearing about molecules and atoms way back when I was in grade school. I understood them to be the tiny things from which everything else was made or composed. Things were made of molecules, and molecules were made of atoms. Ingredients, if you will. As an example, a cake might be composed of flour, sugar, eggs, and a few other things. Well, eggs are composed of water, proteins, fats, and minerals. Flour is composed of proteins, starch, lipids, which is a form of fat, sugars, and enzymes. Sugar, sucrose, is composed of glucose and fructose. Glucose, then, we'll just take one ingredient and break it down a little further. Glucose is composed of molecules that are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms, as is fructose in different amounts. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, the tiny building blocks of the atomic level of sugar. I find that amazing. But wait, there's more. If you were thinking that atoms were the very smallest things that there were, as I did for years, hold on to your hats. In 1815, it occurred to English chemist William Prout that atoms themselves might somehow be made of hydrogen atoms, which he called protiles. Protiles. The smallest thing that there is composed of something yet smaller. So these protiles later came to be called protons. So now you have protons, atoms, molecules, and things. So on April 30th, 1879, a British physicist named J.J. Thomson announced the discovery of even smaller components of atoms. Mr. Thomson announced the discovery of the electron, over 1,800 times smaller than protons. That long ago. Totally blew me away. Electrons are considered to be elementary particles having no known components or substructure. That is to say that electrons are thought to be the most basic building block of atoms. So now we have protons and electrons. There are also neutrons, but those were discovered in 1930, and we've gone on about this long enough at the moment. So the point is that the discovery of electrons was announced on April 30th, 1897. Hawaii became a territory of the United States on April 30th, 1900. Albert Einstein completed his doctoral thesis at the University of Zurich on April 13, 1905. And as we mentioned yesterday, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide on April 30th, 1945. This is the birthday of Darrell Waltrip. No, not Darrell Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip's little brother, Michael Waltrip, born April 30th, 1963. Michael has driven in. This is amazing to me if it's correct. I mean, I added him up and it looks like he's driven in over 1,000 NASCAR races between 1983 and 2017. That's a pretty good time spread, so that's probably possible. Won a couple of Daytona 500 races and some others too. He's done some acting, works for Fox as a NASCAR color commentator. He's written a New York Times bestseller book, In the Blink of an Eye, Dale, Daytona, and the Day That Changed Everything. And a documentary film adaptation has been made from that book also. Michael Waltrip turns 58 in 2021. McKinley Morganfield, better known as blues musician and singer Muddy Waters, is considered the father of modern Chicago blues. Quite notable for his guitar and harmonica work as well as his vocal style. If you've ever heard his work, I'm sure it's playing in your head right now, Muddy Waters. I'll put a link to an example of his work in the show notes. He's not Mr. Bowers' favorite, but this is his birthday, so is it birthday? No, it's not his birthday. This is the day he passed, April 30th, 1983. The exact date and location of his birth is uncertain, but he's thought to have been born in April of 1913. That would make him 70 years old on the day that he passed into eternity on April 30th, 1983, Muddy Waters. Now, this video, the research for it, and the technology that allows me to turn on a camera and broadcast live right out to anyone who cares to watch, thank you, would not be possible but for this next item, the last item for today. And that is that Tim Berners-Lee was a fellow at CERN when he developed the concept for programming for what we now know as the World Wide Web. And on April 30th, 1993, CERN announced that the World Wide Web would be free for anyone to use. Probably just seemed like another ordinary day at the time, but this was a monumental decision and action. We have the ideas and the work of Tim Berners-Lee to thank for the ability for me to put this together for you and for you to watch it. So something to be grateful for today. And all of a sudden, we're at 11 minutes. Where does the time go? I don't know, but wherever it is, there must be a lot of it there. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, links to my sources will be in the show notes at some point later on. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And feel free to share this video with others. Let's see if there's anything else. The whatever links I have, I'll put in the iCards. I think that's where they go, up in that corner. I think I pointed to that corner yesterday, but I think that's the corner where they go. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you next time. And now we're going to look for the thank you very much button. And thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.